So this is a tabs overview overall it, and we right. Perfect. Cool. So this is these are the different tabs of Postman. So we are going slow. That's why I want everyone to understand this. Now, one of the important point people ask me is this thing. Let me show you what is it. Suppose I have a particular. So if you go to Facebook, right? If you see, you can go to the XHRs. You will see lots of API requests are going on, right? If you see, we have one API which is google.com fast2, like it's a get request, so it's a post request, right? So I cannot open directly or use it, but you can see here. Suppose I want to import this request, right? I want to use it in Postman. I want to modify the headers. I want to modify the body that I am sending. So it is sending already certain kind of a body, right? So I can import as a copy as curl, right? And here in the Postman, you will see import. You can import a file, right? You can import from OpenAPI, RML, GraphQL, curl, right? You can import any kind of a folder. Link we're going to use importing. Right now we have raw text, so I'm going to import the raw text, right? So if you see, we have a curl command directly, and that if you do import, you will see that it will automatically added as a request. So if you see third request is coming, method post, query param are automatically added. Headers, there are like lots of headers, and we can play around with the headers also now. And if you see, Google is adding lots of our browser is adding lots of headers like content type. Content type is basically checking text plain, content length, host name, accept host encoding, user agent, right? Content type again, and some more security, accepting language, whatever language that we expect, right? So this is how you import a request in a Postman. Now let's talk. Can you show it one more time? Yes. So you can go to any request that you want. You can click on right click, copy, and if you see, you will see copy as curl here. Make sense? Copy all as curl, it will basically import all the requests and Postman will give you error. So make sure you do that, copy as curl. Got it. Right. Perfect. So that's how you import it. Now comes to the post part, right? So post is basically used to create a new resource. Right now, if you see this example request response, right? Let me open this thing. Right. So this is a endpoint, which endpoint basically, suppose let's open a single user. Now if you see, you will see that, okay, let's make a get request for this single user. Okay, we have already made this request. Okay, we have made a wrong one. Let's make a get request, right? And one more thing is that you can, if you see this untitled one, and if you see the red icon, it basically means it is not saved as of now, right? Okay. So if you see what we are getting here, this is JSON, right? JSON is nothing but it's a key value pair, right? So if you see, let me show you what is JSON in a simple way. We have a data as a key. This is ID is a key and value is 2. Email and email is a value. Key value pair. So JSON is nothing but a JavaScript object notation, right? It's a very simpler way. So people were asking, okay, how client was able to communicate with server? We are using APIs and we are using the medium, which is JSON in that case, right? Here you can see XML also. So if you want, if you're working with XML, it will be XML format. And let me show you how this look like, which is XML request. W3C school have some great examples of it. Yes. So XML response, where it is. So it's very similar to the HTML that you have seen, right? Not able to find, but you'll get the point that we similarly you can work with JSON as well as XML. Most of the time we'll be working with JSON. Why? Because lots of companies are using JSON in that case, right? So suppose so right now if you see we already have a two user, right? So ID two user. So it's a very simpler way. Server is maintaining users, and this is an API for it. And if you do one, if you want to get a one, it basically means that the ID of this person is a one. Email is George. First name is George. Last name is this. Avatar is this. So all the information about it, it's a data, right? And this is an add another key value pair which contains which is what is the company of it, URL and text. Now, if you do for two, it will basically tell you that okay, two the ID two is Janet, right? And this is the data about the Janet, right? And if we do three, we have a Emma, right? So now suppose I want to create a new resource here, right? I want to create some new ID, right? So what I can do here is that I can use the method which is called as post, right? Post will basically create a new user, right? So we need to use this endpoint, right? And let's click plus icon and let's make the post request. And now to make any kind of a post request, you need to send the body part, right? You need to send a body where basically you need to tell what is we want to create, right? What is the resource we want to create? So here we can mention raw. Here in the drop down, we can basically tell JSON. When I do that, you will see that it will add the okay. So here, let's say we are adding Morphus and leader in that case. So let me change it to Pramod and Datta, right? So I'm basically making a new resource here, right? Let's click on send. And if you see, it is telling us the ID is 649. So let's see if 649 exists. And right now it is giving us error, right? But overall, if you see that, okay, we have created a new user here, right? Right. And the ID is here. It is basically giving us the ID that, okay, created at, right? So that's what we are doing. So post is basically used to create a new resource, right? And why we want to create a new resource? Because suppose there is a particular form in a web application, there's a particular form and make a get call for users. You did it post. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I did forget. It, it's a dummy API. Sometimes it doesn't work. It's 649. It doesn't work sometimes. And we're gonna see some practical example where it will work. So don't worry. But I'm just giving you the example of get versus post, right? So post is basically used to create a new resource. Make sense? Guys? So difference between get and post is clear, guys. Yes? Type yes in the comment if you are able to understand. And if you have any question, let's tackle that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So get is used to fetch a resource. Post is basically used to create a new resource. Now come the important point, which is patch, which is put. And lots of people are confused about this put in this case. What is put in that case? So put, if it is very similar to the post, but the point here is that what you can do is that in the put, what you can do, if suppose the resource is not created, it will create a new resource. But the put requires the ID, which where I have to put, right? It will basically ask you, put will basically ask you where I have to put. So if it is asking us where I have to put, it basically means that resource should be already created, right? If it is not created, it will automatically create from some random one, right? Most of the time. So put generally what it do is that it basically asks for us the ID. Where should I put anything, right? And so we are telling that okay, user 649, you have to basically update everything. So it is basically again an updation method. It will update everything. So let's update it to Amit. Let's update to this thing, and let's send it again. And if you see it has successfully updated. It's basically responding back, I have updated, not created. If you see, it is not giving us a creation now. So put difference between put and post is that post basically used to create a resource. That's all. Put will create a resource, but you have to tell him which resource I have to basically update, right? These are the updation methods. And put will basically, what exactly it will do is that it will replace the full object. Basically, if suppose we have couple of more keys, right? For example, we have age is equal to 23, suppose, right? So it will basically replace this with the previous that we had Pramod and job, right? It will basically replace all of it in that case, right? But if we now we have a similar method which is called as patch, which works in a similar way, but patch can update only the partial updates. So it can do the partial updates. So partial updates are nothing but, for example, I want to update for 649. I want to update only Amit. Only Amit. Only the key Amit. I don't want to update the age because Pramod and Amit's age are similar. I want to update only the name, right? So that's where you can use the patch, right? So patch is a partial update. Patch is a partial update. Put is a full update. Put is a full update. Put will create a new resource also if it is doesn't exist, if the ID doesn't exist. Put and patch require the ID. They require ID. Which ID? Which ID I want to update? I want to update something, but where should I do it? You need to mention the ID, right? So you need to mention if the resource is already created, I have to do that, right? Whereas if you do the post, it is nothing but create a new resource. I want to create a new resource, right? But if you see this API, it will basically create a new resource with 23, but and even if we are missing certain keys, right? So this is not a proper API. It is not well handled, not gracefully handled, and it contains lots of bugs. But it is good for basic examples, right? So put will basically create a new resource. Post will basically create a new resource. Patch will basically do a partial update if you want only to update age, name, and all, right? That's where you use patch. Put you use basically to update the full one. And similarly, we require delete. Delete basically deletes it. It doesn't require any body, so you can select none. And if you do send, it will basically return you certain status code. If you see here, right? It basically say no content. It basically means everything is deleted. You will not able to access the 649 now. Make sense? All these five important methods are clear, guys. Just let me know in the comment yes if it is clear. Every time all the API export like version approach, it depends, right? Every time all API are exposed like post, put, Saurabh, I didn't get it. Can you repeat the question? Yes. Right. It is clear, guys. Different HTTP methods. I mean, all methods are exposed. It is not most of the time whenever you are finding. It depends upon the functionality. Yes. And as sometimes all the methods are not exposed, you need to use a different method which is called as options. So options, again, if you see, it's basically a server. Generally what we have is that if you see, client will basically make a first request as an option, and it will ask what type of HTTP method you support. And in the response of the options, you will see that they will reply back put, post, patch. I'll basically handle, right? So they will basically ask you in that thing. So this is how options work. Head is basically used to get the only the header information, and rest of these are optional, and they are newly introduced. And most of the time, you will be working with the. I've seen patch not work as a backend. It is not implemented. I've seen patch doesn't work in the backend. Yes, it can be a case where patch is not implemented. So I'm telling you that these methods are just a traditional way, right? People right now, if you see Facebook, right? Facebook request, Facebook only uses all the request Facebook uses is post. So you can do the same thing with post. You don't need a patch or put in that case. You can delete the resource with the post request also. Why they are doing it? Can we use two methods together? Two methods together? I don't think so. We can use them side by side, but I'll let you know if it is the case. So what I was saying that you can use only the post method. Post method is the most powerful method, right? And what exactly they are doing here is that uh, they in the front end they want to basically tell the client I'm only making a post request, and internally they are making a different kind of a request. So it will hit another URL, another API where they will make a different request, right? If you see for Facebook, if you go to Facebook, right, and see their APIs. So how I can see the APIs? I will just open the network tab, XHRs, and there are like lots of different APIs. If you see are going right, post, get post, get post, get post, right, get post, and most of the time you will see that all the requests, even if you are updating something, even if you have updated a very small thing, it will be a post request all the time. Why? Because right now Facebook is hiding most of the things. They are just using one method, which is post for all the things, and internally they are using put, patch, and delete internally, right? Even if you delete a comment or do something like this, right, this is will be a post request in most of the time. So it depends upon the situation, it depends upon the companies how they have implemented it. But the traditional approach says that you should be implementing this like this. Get should be used to fetch a resource, post should be used to create a resource, put should be will basically update a resource, full update, patch will be patch update, and delete will be basically used to delete it, right? I hope that makes sense, guys. Right? So all the HTTP methods are you're able to understand, right? So now what you can do, so what you can do here is that so this is the overview about it. So we have a overview of Postman. We have imported the external request. So how we have imported it? It basically simple way. We have just opened up the network tab, and after that we'll basically you can do right click, copy as curl, and put it here, right? So you can basically import the request here, right? History, right? History is basically here whatever the request that you have already made, right? So history is important part in the Postman where you sorry guys, right? So history you will see whatever the request that I have previously made, right? So it will basically keep the request in the history tab, and you can also save the response. So for example, if I want to add it, I can directly click plus and I can add to a collection, right? So history tab is important whenever you are making a request. So if you want to see what exactly going on and who has sent it, you can use plus add to a collection. You can save the response, monitor it, document it. I'm going to explain you one by one what exactly you can do. Right. Okay. Now the important point of Postman is the collection. What is collection? Collection is nothing but the collection of your requests. So you can group all the similar requests into the collection. So right now, let's create a new dummy collection, right? So let's call it demo one. And whatever the request, for example, this is the first request that we have made for user two, right? And I can send it. And now I'll use a save button, save. And you can name the request. For example, generally what I do is that get is already added, will be added. So it will be get user two details, right? And you can add details like this. You can select the folder, save it, save. So if you see, we have a saved. So if you double click on it, so suppose I have closed it, right? You click on it, it will basically open with the all the details, even if the prescripts are already added. So you can create a collections. Collections are important, and they and will be whenever we are basically doing live projects and all the things that we'll be doing. Most of things are will be in collections. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's MATLAB projects. Let's switch to frame workspace. So I have already like couple of workspaces in Postman that you can use. Workspace are very similar to, for example, if you are a Java guy, we have different workspaces or a different folders where you can keep your requests or your code, right? So I have created lots of it. So right now MATLAB project, if you see, I have Jira basic auth. So you'll see this collection, Postman live. We have like local GitHub file upload, JSON or schema, validation, authentication related test cases, Postman collection. Like, so we have lots of different collections that you can do, use it. So that's where collections come handy. And another important collection, why importance are, you can add certain conditions to the collections also. For example, you can add a pre-scripts or test scripts. It's very much similar to the hooks generally you have in your test automation. Hooks basically means before running this collection, I want to do these things. And after running this collection, I want to verify this thing. So before running and after running, you can do the same thing here also. Right? So that's why collections are handy. And this is the API tab. Basically, you can in Postman you can create some dummy APIs, and I'm going to show you probably on tomorrow how you can do the same thing, right? And you can basically mock the API. Mock basically means like you are seeing these APIs, right? These are nothing but a dummies API. They don't have backend as of now, but they are just mocking something, right? We can similarly do a mocking here that will works in a similar way. We can basically mock a particular API, and we're going to see the same thing in another demo, right? Perfect. So workspaces in Postman is the same thing that I have discussed. You can have a different workspace. So for example, you can have workspace for your SDET blueprint APIs. You can have workspace for your Facebook related, GitHub related, anything that you want to do, right? Postman tabs I have discussed earlier. So Postman console, this is one of the important thing people are missing. You can see the console. So console is basically all the requests that you are making and any kind of a output that you are making. Or whenever you type, for example, if suppose in the test I type dot console, so you, and if you see this, as if I send the request, you will see that okay, this information is getting printed. And if you see, even the request that you are making, all the requests and response are also getting in logs here. So you can check out the Google Postman logs. So how it is helpful? Is helpful how? Because we want to check our variables are working fine, global variables, anything related to uh, certain debugging and all. It will be helpful for you, right? So that was the Postman overview. All right, perfect, cool. Right. So all right. So do you want me to continue or further, or let's stop the session now and we can have some assignments, basic assignments related to Postman. We can have some tryouts with different HTTP methods. Let me know, guys. And assignments, right? Okay. So Chandan, you there? Give me 1 second. Let me know. Assignments, right? Okay. Perfect. Everyone is saying then. Okay. So give me 1 second. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is that till now you have explored API testing. You have explored how Postman works, right? You have explored 5 important HTTP methods. What you can do in the assignment, first assignment, basic one. This is the website. Try out all the different methods. Let me put it into the chat again. Try out different HTTP methods, right? And they will basically tell you how to do it. So you can see, use this URL. So if they are saying this thing, you just click on it, it will basically open the full URL. So just cut it and use this as a body. All right, you can play around with put, patch, delete. Registration successful, you can check with the is this ID, basically the HTTP code. So whenever we are doing, just check for the HTTP code here, right? So whenever we are making a request, we are getting HTTP code. We will get the time, and here in the time we are also getting DNS lookup time. What is a DNS lookup, TCP, SSL handshake, all the information. Size, what is the size that this request we have made. You can also save to a file this response, right? You can also save it if you want to do it. And saving as a collection, I have already told you, so you can save the response here. And let's move back to this that blueprint. So guys, we are starting some advanced stuff after this, so make sure you are trying the assignment 1. The assignment 1 is basically trying out all the 5 important methods, which are get, post, put, patch, delete, or try out all these methods. And all these methods especially with the post one and patch one are required body. So make sure to select raw and JSON here, right? So that your headers are basically headers will be automatically added application.json, right? So basically it will support only the JSON part. That's why it is telling us. You can try out these 4-5 methods and check with the response what kind of response that you are getting, and if it is a JSON, what is JSON in that case, right? I don't want to information overload you guys today, and on the next session we're gonna have some more Q&A. Let me know if you want to have some Q&As today. And yeah, so assignment is done. So right, perfect. So type 1 in the comment, guys, if you are able to understand the assignment. Type 1 in the comment. Let me write down again in front of you. Let me, where it is. Let me this, okay. So assignment is something like this. First assignment, which will be assignment, right? So assignment 1 will be try out the 5 HTTP methods, right? And the second will be explore Postman tabs, right? And the third will be add some request from Chrome to Postman. When you do that, you will able to understand different methods. Make sure you use try out different website, Facebook, Medium, Pinterest. They'll basically use a different HTTP methods. You will see in the network tab. In the network tab. So basically, in the network tab, you will see some different requests. For example, some of them are making get requests. Most of the time, you will see get requests. Some of them are making some different HTTP methods, so you can export it, right? So and the fourth one,
Let's give them live project assignment rather than this.
yeah. So this one actually this was you can say assignment 1.
Okay.
So let's take it as a assignment 1, and we can have assignment 2. Yeah, Chandan. Yes.
Okay. So basically, let's have assignment 2 based on live project and end-to-end scenario. Okay. Can you unshare your screen? So we're gonna do it in this website. Type 1, guys, if you can see my screen and also hear me properly. Okay. So this is one of my previous company, staging.engineer.ai. It's a tool to build apps, so software development tool where you can create application based on features, and you will get the code directly during runtime, and then later on you can see the progress of your projects and so on. Okay, so your end-to-end case related to the API would be, so I'm going to show you just the demo, then later on you have to because you may not know which API is used for the which purpose. So I'll let you know the API, then later on you need to fetch that API information from Google Chrome network tab, and then using this particular end-to-end scenario, you need to run this in Postman. Okay, Pramod, everything is covered in Postman related to automation, right?
We just started it, so we have covered the basic HTTP methods now. So in the
Okay.
next session, we're gonna cover the more in depth, so they can try out the importing part as well as the playing around with the Postman. What are the different tabs and what are the post
So
outputs? Yeah.
I got it. So in this case, what you can do, you can test all these API manually. And then later on, when we cover the automation, your task would be to do the automation also. Okay. So the first API here is basically, as a user, you need to register. So when you do the registration, it requires a unique email every time, which is not registered. Okay. So when you do that, you will see this screen here. You need to enter the fields. Okay, information could be anything apart from email, and password could be anything. Now once you click on this register, this is an registration API user. Okay, I'll save out this for you so that later on you can filter it out and see. Okay, so this is a post API. The URL is this. You can test it out on Postman also, and this is a payload. These are the request headers. The important ones are only accept and content type. That's it. So once you got this API, which is registration. So the flow I want to talk about here is register user, then login using registered user. Okay. Then set currency. So here you need to set currency. They support multiple currency. So set currency API. Then create a build card. Build card is basically a project. Create a build card. Update a build card. No, before update, you need to view build card, which is already created. Then update the build card. Let's say name. And delete the build card. Okay, before delete, let's say after update, you view build card in dashboard, then delete the build card and then log out user. Let's say this is your end-to-end scenario you need to do using API. So we know this API, which is users. Now once you do the sign up, you need to select currency, right? Automatically based on location, it will give you the currency type, or maybe you can select the currency. So now for this, again, there is an API. Okay, the API is same. It's just that the payload and method would be different. So this method is put because we are updating something, updating the user currency, and it uses form data example. In Postman, you can see you can add data in form data also, rather apart from raw, and it is actually setting up the currency ID as 1. So this is your second API. So you'll find it in the when you update the currency, you'll find it that once you have registered with the user. So my user email is this. You need to log in with the provided user ID, login, user ID and password. So for that, my username is this. So you can click on sign in, this time on login, and this is your username, and I think I selected this password. So password is builder123, but you can have it anything. So when you do that, you will again see a request sign in this time. Okay. So this is your login request. It takes the payload as login data in JSON. Okay. So this is your login. So let's have this as a second step. log out after setting up currency, log in with the registered user. Now once you are logged in, you need to create a project or build card. So for that, the task is pretty simple. You can see the recording later on also, okay, if you are not getting the steps. So you need to select what type of app you want to or project you want to make. Then you need to select the template. Okay, then click on get started. Then you need to select the features from this application. Let's take it as it is for now. We'll do the UI automation when we'll check the prices, etc. also. Do we have any questions? Yeah, we'll share the URL also. And when you do done and name it something like my first card, you will get a API build card. So this is your build card request, which is helping you to create build card. So you can see the payload is very large here because it accepts a lot of things like template detail, pricing, features detail. Okay, so this is your third API. Similarly, the fourth API is same. Is this one update is also same. It's just that you update it with certain things. Let's say now I change the name to first card 2. When I do that, same API will be hit, but with different type. It would be put. Okay, and again the post payload would be slightly different. Project name. So it is based on dynamic. So you will see that use case when we do the automation. So because this is dynamic, so the API is slightly different. Build card, then the build card ID. In automation, we'll see how to capture this and then use that in Postman. Okay, so now once that is done, this API is remaining view build card, right? So view build card is pretty simple. When you do the build card refresh, you would see a build card API. So the same name would be same MC op in this case. This is your view build card, right? This is simple. It's a get request and gives you the data. So you can verify multiple data here, like template name, type of project, right? Number of feature count, which you see in the previous page and so on. I'll tell you the assertions also in automation mostly. This is just to test on Postman as a manual test. Okay, view build card in the dashboard. Now you can see this build card in dashboard also. So when you go in dashboard, just verify that this build card is actually present in API. So my first card. So dashboard API is again build cards. So here, because it's a completed card, you will see a parameter completed. This is your completed parameter API. And you just have to verify that with this, you are actually seeing the build card which is completed. Finally, delete build card. Deleting is pretty simple. From here, you can select delete. And when you delete it, the delete call will be made with the ID, build card ID, right? So again, the build card is same. It's just that it has an ID and a delete command. That's it. Delete method. And log out user again finally. So for that we have a sign out log out API. So it requires a token. So basically on every login you get a token, and that token is actually deleted with the delete command when you sign up. This is your end-to-end flow. Okay. The URL of this project is this. So it's a public website and it's the staging one, so you can do any stuff apart from load testing. Do not do load testing, etc. Yeah. So, Pramod, how to share? I can share with you, and you can share, or later on we can share with the people.
You can share with me. I can do that.
Yeah. So we'll share that with you later on. So, any questions on this? You can ask.
Hello, Chandan. To register this one, valid email ID is required or a dummy URL?
Yeah, valid. If you do something like AA, it will not work. Okay, so you can play around with the data, okay, in the Postman, but it requires valid ID, also a unique email. So
No. We're talking about in the staging engineer to register that one. Here, it is a valid email ID required or a dummy?
Not valid, like it could be anything. It does not requires any confirmation from email. So you can use Yopmail. We used to do Yopmail test. Okay, the Yopmail. I meant valid in this term, like it requires. So if you do something like this without at the rate, it will fail.
Okay.
But it did not require your personal email or something like that. You can use Yopmail emails, disposable emails. Okay. But for Yopmail, you can leave it because we don't need any end-to-end scenario related to. So we'll be using Yopmail in UI automation, where what we'll be doing is when you create build card, you receive an email in your email, Yopmail email. Then we will verify user is receiving emails or not. Okay. So for now, it just you need a unique email. That's it. It could be anything, and you don't need to verify your email also. You can log in once you register here. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
No, yeah. So basically, what you need, guys, is basically just import these requests, play around with it, and see what is the flow going on. And after that, we'll basically doing the same thing, and we'll basically create this flow. We'll create test cases around it, and we'll play around. So this is like a live project for you, and this is one of the project that we already we have worked on. So live project with Postman, writing test cases, what are the things that you need to be right, how to work with flow, basically uploading, registering, creating, updating, right? So everything. Cool, guys. Okay. So I guess that makes sense. I'm going to share all the details in the email after this session. So you'll receive it. And on the next session, make sure you have done the two assignments, right? The first assignment was the simple one, importing the from request.respond.in. And the second one will be this. So both of these will be on the email, right? All right, guys. So I guess we are going. Yeah, don't require any kind of verification, just importing and checking out.